So welcome to this webinar. My name is Carolina and I am a support and training geoscientist at Petros's Glasgow office. Today we're starting a series of webinars about our Spatial Editor, and over the next couple of months we will be talking about and presenting to you the new grid editing capabilities of the Spatial Editor. In this webinar we will focus on localized regridding. So before I start, just a couple of technical announcements. This webinar is recorded, and the recording will be available on our website very soon. So if you check our webinars page next week, I suppose, or maybe end of this week, you should be able to find it there. Also, at the moment, everyone is muted, and this is to ensure the best audio quality. So if you have any questions, please type them into the questions box, and I will answer them after my webinar, after this presentation. Okay, so the agenda for today. I will start with a short introduction, just a couple of slides about the new grid editing tools and about localized regridding, what is localized regridding and why it is useful. We will then move on to the live demonstration. And if you like what you see, and if you would like to learn more about the Spatial Editor and the new capabilities, stay on, please, and I'll advise you where you can learn more and where you can get more information and help. So back in 2015, in version 17.6, we released the Spatial Editor, which has great contour, fold, polygon, and point editing functionality. And this tool became very popular with our users really quickly. And this is because of the editing options in there. So the spatial data editing was very easy and quick, and you could use multiple formats. And this included also popular formats such as shapefiles and Excel spreadsheets. We received lots of feedback since, and this helped us to enhance and enrich the editing capabilities. So in this version 17.8 this year, we've added grid editing tools to the Spatial Editor. So now, alongside spatial data, you can also edit grids. And this includes editing of grid surfaces by using the options that have already been in the Spatial Editor, such as contour and fold and polygon editing options, but also new options for direct editing of grid nodes. And what's more exciting, we can now update surfaces from within mapping. So you don't need to go to surface modeling to create this new surface or update the surface with your changes, but you can regrid the surface directly in the Spatial Editor. So there are a lot of workflows this new functionality can help us with, and today we will be focusing on the localized regridding. So this technique allows users to apply changes to a small area of a larger grid without affecting the entire surface. So this is an example. We've made changes only within the small area of the grid here. And this grid is showing the difference between the original surface and the edited surface. So you can see clearly the edits over here around the fold, but you can also see that there are changes made to this grid away from this, this edited area over entire area of this grid. So localized regridding, it stops the edits from affecting the whole grid. So using this technique, you can set up a zero edge for your changes. And outside of this area, beyond this area, the grid will remain as is, so it will not change. And why it is useful, it allows us to create accurate and precise surfaces. So localized regridding, in most of the popular interpretation packages, it's not available. But in Petros's, it has been available for a very long time in surface modeling. And you could just take the edits that you've made and feed them into a gridding task and use localized regridding there. However, what's new is that you can now use localized regridding from mapping. So the best way to tell you about how you can do it and show you this is in a demo. So I'm just going to move to the software. So here on the map of the Gullfax region, I've displayed 2D seismic lines, and along those lines I have some interpretation also marked by color gradient. And these lines come directly from a Kingdom project. This interpretation has been also done in Kingdom, and it's just directly displayed on this map. I also have some folds directly from Kingdom as well, so they have been interpreted in Kingdom here. And I gridded this data in Petrus's. And the resulting grid is over here. So I've made it deliberately transparent, so you can see the lines below, the original lines that fed into this this grid, that created this grid, and you can see that this grid is really matching well my interpretation data. So I'm really happy with this grid over the entire area of interest, except for a little area over here. And I'm just going to zoom in into this area and show you what's wrong in here. So, as I said, these faults, they come from Kingdom, and someone interpreted them as two faults, whereas I think this should be one fault, as just in a kind of fork structure here. So that's one thing that I'm not happy with. The next one is those very closely spaced contours in here, in this area, on this line. And this is due to, again, a little mistake in interpretation. Someone interpreted this, this surface a little bit too low, picked the fault in the wrong place a little bit, and it causes the surface to fall towards the fault. So I'm going to use the new capabilities of the Spatial Editor in Petrus's to edit those two areas here, and then I'm going to localize regrid this area here, so change this grid only within this area here. So I'm just highlighting the contours on the map, right mouse button clicking, and select Edit. And this opens the Spatial Editor. And for those of you who've used version 17.6 before or 17.7, you've played a little bit with the Spatial Editor, you probably recognize this this window here, and you'll find it is really familiar to you, except for a little changes that we introduced. And in the interface, they are very little changes, but in the functionality, they are quite big changes. So we have some extra options here for gridding. We've got some more icons here on the bottom. But first of all, we can edit grids, so you can see that we can move a grid into the Spatial Editor. This is new. We have two grid editing modes. So the first one is grid node. And about this option, my colleagues will tell you a little bit more in the subsequent sessions. And this mode allows us to edit the nodes of the grid directly. So there are some icons here that you can apply some changes to the grid nodes using those icons here. And my colleagues will tell you more about it. In this mode also, you can see the grid definition and change the cell size of the grid, and change some of the algorithm, for example, for the grid, and so on. So this is available here as well. What I'm going to show you today is the contour editing mode. So I'm just going to switch to contour editing. And what it did is it split my grid into some spatial components. So you can see the contours here, folds and polygons associated with this grid here. These are the data that are embedded within this grid. So they aren't separate contour and fold files here. And I can now select one of this data, for example, folds, and I can start editing the folds here. So I'm going to highlight the fold on the map, and you can see there is quite a lot of icons here for editing. So at the start, when you start working with Spatial Editor, you may find it a little bit overwhelming that there are so many icons and you don't know what they do. But when you hover your mouse over an icon, it will tell you what it does. So what's the hidden option behind it? So as you can see here, for example, the first icon allows me to edit shapes by editing individual vertices. And when I click on this, the vertices on the folds are showing, and I can now move those vertices. I can create new vertices, add them or remove them. So there are options here as well. There are also specific options for fold editing that are quite new. So they are kind of old new. They used to be in Petrus's, but in a different sort of place. At the moment, we brought them here into the Spatial Editor, and we can assign fold flags easily by just clicking on one icon. We can swap fold sides or invert folds. So these are options specifically for folds as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do at the moment is actually I'm going to remove part of this fold here. I'm just making my editing circle a little bit smaller. And I'm going to redigitize this part of the fold. And the other one. And just to stop confusion, I'm going to switch the fault file from the background, so you can see now the fault that I'm editing exactly here, that this part of the fault is missing. So this part I'm going to redigitize using this pencil icon here. And you will notice as well that when I hover over the last point on this fault, my mouse is changing into a hand, and this means that Petrus will snap to this point. So I am sure when this cursor changes into a hand and when the fault is turning red, that I am definitely snapping to this fault, and there will be no gap, and this is not a separate line that I'm drawing, but it's just still the part of the fault. So I'm just going to do the same over here and just digitize and catch on this fault here. So now you can see that when I highlight this fault, it's one fault instead of two. So I'm happy with this now. And I'm going to move on to editing these contours over here in this area. So I highlighted the contours now, and again I've got some options here for editing contours. So I'm going to select some of the contours that are problematic, and this is a group of contours highlighted here, and I'm just going to bin them. So I'm just going to use this icon here with a bin and remove them. And now I'm going to create a new contour here. But before I do this, I would like to check the last contour level here. In the reporting window, I can check that this level was 1590, and the next one is 16,000. So I'm going to 1600, sorry. So I'm going to create a contour here at 1580, somewhere higher up here. And I'm also going to make this contour really nasty and jagged, just to show you off my editing tools here. So 1580, click OK. It looks horrible, and this is on purpose. So I would like to smooth it first, and this icon over here smooths this contour. So if I click on the contour to highlight it, I can change the intensity of smoothing and the editing circle as well here. So I'm just going to go over this contour, and it now looks much better. The next thing I can do is I can do some bending here of contour. So I can bend, for example, that bit a little bit lower. And what I can do as well, and this is quite important, is to snap this contour to a fault. So just to make sure that this contour is touching the fault exactly, and there are no gaps between the contour and the fault. So for this purpose, I'm going to use this icon over here, snap lines to a fault. I'll just select this contour and click on it, and it automatically extrapolates and snaps to my fault. So now it looks much better, and I'm happy with the way it looks, and I'm going to incorporate those changes into my grid. So I can do this from the gridding menu, and I can select full regrid or only changed areas. And the same I can access also from within here. So next to the editing mode, I can select full regridding or localized regridding. So I'm just going to click on localized regridding. And the area for localized regridding is marked here with pink. So this is the area within which the changes will be applied to the grid. And beyond this area, nothing will be changed. So the grid will remain exactly unchanged. If you would like to make this area bigger, you can do this simply by editing this buffer. Or you can just, or you can make it smaller even. I'm just going to leave it at 500 because I'm quite happy with this. And when I'm happy with the buffer, I'm just clicking OK, and Petrus performs regridding here. So now these changes are applied to my grid, and I can now save this grid. And to do this, I can save it as the same grid, or I can also save it as a different file. So I'm going to choose to select to save it as a different file. So I'm just going to write edit it. Edit it. Can't spell. Okay. And save. And now I've got a new grid, which is not really much changed from the other, only within this small area over here. And this is all I wanted to show you during this presentation. So just coming back to my PowerPoint slides, one more slide to let you know that we are going to run a series of webinars on the Spatial Editor. So if you liked and you enjoyed this webinar and you would like to learn more, in December there will be a webinar on the 7th on Wednesday about digitizing contours and folds from an image and generating a grid from it. So this is what you can do as well in Grid Editor. And on Thursday, the 15th of December, Benna will be presenting how to apply changes directly to grid nodes. And in January, we will run one more webinar, which we haven't chosen the date yet, but it will soon be advertised on our website. So please keep on checking our website, so you will learn as well when you can sign up for this. And if you would like to learn more before those webinars, and if you have any questions before you would like us to help you to apply these beautiful new tools to your workflows right now, you can also email us in support, or you can give us a call, and we will be happy to run another session with you, a personal session, and show you how you can apply those beautiful tools into your workflows. So thank you very much today for your attention. If you have any questions, I'm just going to check it now. So type them into the questions box, please.